Our goal is to be zero learning curve. So you download the app, you log in with your phone number or email, whatever, Gmail, doesn't matter. And you are either be joining to a workspace or creating a new one, and that's it. You know how to use it. Obviously, the features are very similar to iPhone. You can be like amateur and you can be professional and use a lot of extended features that are hidden because it is a complex platform, a rich platform. I wouldn't say complex, but zero learning curve is something that we see. You see somebody downloading the app, inviting 3 people. 5 minutes after, it's a 3, 4, 5 people team. They're trying it for a week or two, and then in 2 days, 70 people on the platform using it.
You see that, right? It's interesting. You see it just explode, right?
Welcome to Captive Conversations, brought to you by Captive Wi-Fi. I'm your host, Adam Foreman. This podcast brings you the best stories from suppliers, marketers, and operators from our beloved hospitality sector. Now, let's get on with the show.
Hello, everyone. A nice remote podcast today. And I apologize, Guy, because I've been a bit shit in the past of getting this booked in, and it's all been my fault, even though you are busier than me. But thank you for coming on, and I'm excited to hear the history because you've been a busy boy. So it will be really interesting to hear your history, and then obviously where you are now and what you're building, because it's quite exciting. And some of us over here have seen the explosion of that platform, which is nice, and we have clients using it as well. So I will let you introduce yourself to everyone. So say hello to everyone, and I'll let you do the intro.
So hi, Guy Weiss, CEO of ZenZap. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to start.
Amazing. Perfect. So thank you for coming. So we have 2 questions from the last guest who actually worked with you when you were over here last for the service show. So Richard Liverman from Richard Solutions was the last person on, and you guys worked with him when he was here. He did some awesome video content for you. So I think definitely use him again to do some more. His questions were, first question was, are apps a little boring at the moment? Which is quite a good one for you, to be honest with you.
Well, it's a smart question on one hand, but it's tricky. I think that apps on the personal side, like we didn't see any new innovations over the last few years. Let alone AI, obviously, which is amazing and just at the beginning of it. But I think apps are really boring. Double down on boring apps. I think in the workplace, apps are super boring. And up until a few years, nobody had really thought about the end users. They were thinking about the companies or consumers, but I didn't think about users. So I think now you can make work apps and essential work apps a little bit less boring, a little bit more compatible with users and what users expect to have in 2025, 2026. So yeah, I actually agree. Kind of boring.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like I was speaking to someone the other day who said to me, LinkedIn's turned into the Facebook of work.
It is.
You
I
know,
think
with additions to it.
I think LinkedIn is the Facebook of grow out people that work. I think it's even more important from some aspects than Facebook itself. For me personally, it's
I
my
agree.
social life eventually.
Yeah, and it's amazing how you'll connect to more people from there. So question number 2, and it could be anywhere. He says, recommend an intimate restaurant to visit. Pitch an independent restaurant, why you love it. And I've put here so I can take Richard out, but we won't be going there just yet until we both, not together anyway. So unless we're not that intimate right now. So
An intimate restaurant. There's a place I love. It's fairly small, and it's I don't know if it's famous at all, but every time I go to Amsterdam, there's a place called Sampura. Sampura, I think. Sampurna. It's an Indonesian restaurant serving the best Indonesian food, which I guess none of it's not so famous, but it's a very, very Asian type of cuisine, and I just love it. It's a small place, super cozy, serving the best food. So you should go. You should check it out. And let me know when you go. Let me know when you go. I'll come.
yeah, no, I will. To be fair, we have partners over in Amsterdam. So Leet is a loyalty company we work with. So I was over there for the Horecava event a little while back. But I am another visit. So, and it was more of a fleeting visit. So I was in meetings 2 days and then out. But yeah, thank you for that. That's helpful.
Indonesian restaurants are pretty surprising, I would say.
Yeah. I love Indonesian restaurants. Okay, perfect. So we're going to jump on to the standard questions. The first question is best hospitality experience. And that could be anywhere or for anything, something that sticks out for you in a moment.
Well, the best hospitality, I think actually it was in a hotel that I actually forgot the name. I'll come back in a second. Where we came up middle of the night, me and my wife. The host was so nice. It was like a very small sideways hotel, and they took such a good care about where we came from, what are we doing, what's our plan. So it wasn't just about a place to stay. It was being a part of our trip. And I think that was very unique. It was in the States, in upstate New York, in the Hudson Valley. But it was so beautiful to see that they actually care. It's not about, all right, that's a trade. You give us your money, we'll give you a place to stay, you get the breakfast, you get the coffee, whatever. It was just like, we really care about your trip. And that was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, that is lovely. I think hotels, depending on the ones you have such a greater level of care generally. I mean, you're in America anyway, so customer service is still a little bit higher tier. I mean, higher tier in hotels, but depending on where you go. I love how hotels really do that extra deep dive. They know when you're coming, they know who you are, and they want to look after you. So that's wonderful. That's awesome. So the next question, and unfortunately no self-noms. It's best hospitality tech, but I think that we can just expand it because you're not just in that sector, but best tech that you've used, not your own tech, unfortunately, but what's one of the best tech platforms you've used? We quite like using hospitality tech, but I'll happily expand it out.
I think that for me, I think simple. So for me, the entire Google platform with email and calendar, for me, that's like, and Google Sheets is like the best platform that you can use as a simple user when it comes up to work. And obviously it tailors all the needs of an organization. So for me, that's the best tech, let alone with YouTube and all the consumer stuff that they provide. But I think it's just phenomenal.
Google Suite is pretty slick. I think it's really interesting. We've spoken to customer partners and customers in the past who have had a fusion of finance teams having to be on Microsoft because they like Excel. So you have this mixed bag, but we've had some other partners that we work with who've just taken the full jump and they've forced their finance team to go use Sheets. Like none of this Microsoft Excel stuff. I know you like macros. You can do it on. So they've moved everyone onto. So they're not that two sector, and they are less. I'm selling myself out of a job. Less challenges when it comes to issues because it's all either online or offline, right? And there's no apps that can cause problems. There's no data loss and that sort of jazz. So I think, yeah, you're right. I think the Google platform is pretty slick.
I love it when you have like a single source of truth. And I think Access is just like, it feels, even though other platforms, Microsoft, they do have a single source of truth, but with Google, it feels like more natural. So I think Google, great job there.
I like that. Okay. Best restaurant. Again, that can be anywhere.
Best restaurant.
Yeah.
Best for what?
Experience. I mean, you've done your hospitality experience, but something that like some of our previous guests love a restaurant that's great for the kids, others that have just had an awesome experience. And it's more about like that I think it's all about the story and what stays in your mind of somewhere you've been. Obviously, the one in Amsterdam was the experience, which is great, but like something that stuck in your mind, something you'd go back to because it hit that.
So there's a place in New York called Isodi. It's a small Italian restaurant next to Bleecker Street. It's a great place because it feels like you're in like a small place in Rome or wherever
They're transporting you.
You're in New York, obviously. The food is so good, and they give you like the best service because they let you feel really in the moment. The essence of being there in the moment.
Yeah,
and let you taste and feel the Italian vibe, although you're in the middle of New York. So that was I had such a good time there.
Yeah. And then you walked out and it's mental. I like Bleecker Street. Bleecker Street's pretty awesome. So it's a great road. There's some awesome spaces down there. I do need to go back. I did the whirlwind rush of like a week of just exploring New York.
Rush?
No. I did like a week rush
Oh, rough.
in not Russia, a week rush. So I did like a Monday to Sunday, like smash through New York. Deep packing was probably my favorite out
No.
of all places. It was so cool. Yeah, so cool and so busy, but I loved it. Okay,
Like,
so we're gonna go deep dive. And we're gonna talk about. So the questions I had here basically was my AI researcher, ChatGPT, and I will share. I've actually got a full brief it did for me, which I'll share to you afterwards because it's really interesting. It's giving you like a 7 like mini paragraph of your history, which I haven't done a debrief myself in it, but that's how it found these questions. So the first question was your journey spans quite a diverse background from early marketing roles at tech companies to founding startups. Can you walk us through your career evolution? What were some of the pivotal experiences or lessons in those early roles that led you to starting at ZenZap?
yeah, that's a great question. So I started basically in cybersecurity for a few years. I was a product and tech guy, and it felt like it wasn't the place for me. Not from the sense of the people that I work with, because they're great. One of them is actually working with me today, is my co-founder. But from a perspective of what are we doing here? Are we always defending or attacking? It's like felt like it's not where I want to be. I moved into the advertising industry. We helped companies like Amazon, eBay, Walmart, like large marketplaces, to really become efficient in long tail advertising their inventories and helping customers to find really what they were looking for. And that felt a bit better for me. We touched, I think, millions of users every month and helped millions of users to really buy their stuff online. And that was great.
Mm,
I think the lesson I've took is you can really create a product and influence others people's life from your basement. And that's like something that I was like, wow, you can really build something and that can influence others. And you don't need to be like a huge company. You can just start small and grow. So the lesson was you can do whatever you can do whatever you dream of. You should try. Trying was a big not being afraid. That was the best lesson, because we kind of like matched very large companies back in the day, and we've won. It was a fairly small company. I also learned the power of small, dedicated, and smart team versus a lot of people and a lot of communication tax you pay as a team. So I really learned the importance of A players working together on a simple and focused mission. So I think that was my two biggest takeaways from my journey. And from that point on, it was all about how do you measure your success? So you have periods in time where you measure success by, for example, money. And so I was 25 when I sold my first company, and it was like a big exit and it was great. And then you are moving into a phase of, I'm going to measure success in a different way, maybe feel more, whatever, connected, more connected to people, more helping others. Now I'm in a phase of, we're trying to build something that is greater than us, that we're going to influence and allow a lot of people solve the communication problems and communication tax they're paying on a daily basis. That's how we want to measure success. We want to measure how many people are actually happy and using the
mm.
platform on a daily basis. So I think it's about team, about focus, and it's about how do you measure what's that you're doing. So that was my takeaways.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Um, I'll jump on to the next one, basically, which is going to talk about where you are now. So ZenZap is I use it. I have it. I have clients that use it, which is nice. And you're fixing. I don't like the word problem. I'm not a big fan of the problem, but more recently, over the last 6 months, that word problem is because for me a problem is an unresolved opportunity. But the problems are things that can't be fixed generally. So I don't like using it. I like using issue because then you can resolve it, but there are big problems in communication and compliance and everything. Where did the journey start for ZenZap? Like what was okay, there needs to be something better. Everyone's moaning about something. What was the light bulb moment?
Yeah, so it's funny because you have Slack. Slack is a great platform. Started in, I think, 2012, 2009, and became very popular in the tech industry. And I was using that for quite a while as a part of the tech industry. And it wasn't for me. I don't know how to explain it. It was just too complex, too clunky, not mobile first. And I saw when you look outside of this tech industry, nobody's using it.
Mm.
All lean
Yeah,
on.
it's weird. I see that too. It's so weird.
No, it's not weird. You're just wondering why. It's not just weird. It's like why. And then you see everyone leaning on personal messaging apps. They're fast. They're easy to use. Everyone can use it. They're mobile first. There's zero learning curve, like all the app sides. And I think the post-COVID era, where we became more instant on one hand, but more remote on another hand, just blurred all the lines between professional work communication into personal communication, and it all became like a one big blob of things. And that's when I started to realize there's a huge chaos in hospitals, in
Mm.
hotels, in restaurants, in construction companies, in lawyers, like wherever you look, even in tech companies. When you look at the
Yeah.
marketing team, they're not using Slack. They're going to use, in our case, WhatsApp.
Mm.
And then you see like those lack of separation, turnover of employees, the ability to, just get ownership over your data as a business owner. Decide that you're not going to be connected as an employee right now, even though that you are online talking to friends. Somebody sends you a message, you see they're online, and then people let go of the blue V's and stuff. So you started to see the mess, and I was started wondering with my co-founders, like, why there's no such thing as something that was built from the ground up for work, but more accessible and easy to use, and people were gonna choose using it. That was how we started the challenge. So I think the enemy that we're facing is the chaos of communication, or those clutterness of communication. I think ZenZap is trying to be like, on one hand, that's where the name came from, Zen, like easy to use, and Zap, very efficient and quick, and not just being messy. So to the point.
On that note, what were the other names that were chosen before? I just because I love hearing, because there's always some interesting like names that are thrown out that if you can share.
We started with loop.
Okay.
Because we said like, well, you have a lot of loops, like a lot of topics.
Yeah, you want to close that loop, right?
You want to close the loop. You want to have like a closed loop about whatever this project or that project. And it was a fairly good name, but it wasn't standing out. And I think ZenZap represents a higher degree of a challenge. A loop was something very tactical. I think ZenZap is become much bigger in a sense of what we're aiming for and what's the larger vision. So yeah, loop was a one.
So what was it like? You started, you got the team together, built a very basic MVP. What was the journey like? Because, you're not just starting, you're like, this isn't something like, I just want to build a website, or I want to build a mobile app. I want to build something. So this is like you're looking like a omni-channel experience, all different across different ecosystems. It's not a simple solution, especially with as you mentioned, the immediate, right? It's the immediate connection, the immediate and the reading and seeing that someone's online and typing. It's not an easy one to just say, I'm gonna create a business version of this.
So it's taking a lot of time and a lot of knowledge. And even then, it's super complex to create something that is simple. So the challenge would be, on one hand, provide a simple, as you would expect, work chat app to work, because everyone hates work chat apps. They work, they're clumsy, they're complex. On one hand, to make it like a B2C vibe, like a WhatsApp, iMessage, Telegram quality, all platforms, slick, smooth, fast. But on the other hand, be able to provide all the needs for a CIO of a large organization, and a security officer, and meeting all SOC 2 and all of those things that you need to meet, the criteria you need to meet as a professional tool, and be connected to hundreds of applications, be able to allow your users to create their own workflows on the system. And we can talk about it later on. So on one hand, to be simple, but on the other hand, be built from the ground up for work. And that required a lot of knowledge, mobile knowledge. That's why we hired teams from Snapchat and a lot of different places. And it was a quite difficult and a challenging almost 3 years. We've partnered, the company really started at Adam Fisher from Bessemer's office, and he really gave us the strength and the power to think that we can make it. So we've partnered with Bessemer and started this journey, and it takes a lot of time to build product. That the best compliment we can get is, "Oh, it's just like WhatsApp for work."
Yeah.
So the best compliment we can get is, "Oh, it's like text messaging just for work." It
Yeah.
makes sense. And I was like, "Thank you."
Finally they get it. So you've got to the stage now. So I mean, we've seen it. I could probably put a insight into it of what it looks like and so on. So you've got a ton of features in there. I think when we met and went before, and I met Josh, and he was telling me about the platform. I was telling him a story of a client of ours that no longer exists. Unfortunately, they're a restaurant group that don't exist anymore. And one of the nightmare challenges in hospitality was the WhatsApp group was made. This is before you guys existed. The WhatsApp group was made. The GM at that point, and they had 5 restaurants, created the group, added all the staff into the group, and everything was great. Fantastic. They were happy because people were messaging. And then that person who owned the group decided to go back to Australia. And he didn't leave on such good terms, let's just say. So he then left, and this group was still open. So within the next 3 months, they then realized that they couldn't add anyone, they couldn't remove anyone. And there was probably about 20 staff that left also in that period. And he was telling me that it's been the most difficult HR experience of his entire life. This is the guy that was running the brand because he sorry, let me get rid of that window. Because they were getting abuse from previous staff members, from this ex guy who's no longer there, and to people who are getting direct messages because his numbers are all shared. It's a really interesting point of talking about what you have now. Is that general conversation that I've just said is happening everywhere, not just in our hospitality. It's happening in all industries. Everyone's got a little break-off group somewhere. Do you know what I mean? So what were some of the things? I know you've done some new features recently. I mean, the familiarity is pretty awesome. So now obviously you've got the app, you've got mobile, you've got desktop, right? You've got web. Web you can log in via the web as well.
Yeah,
Or is it
sure.
yes, perfect. Yeah, I thought so. So you recently added a couple of, well, obviously SOC 2 compliance a little while back now, which is awesome. So that helps that security, as you mentioned. But I think one of the things that I would love to point out is that security piece with like hiding. I think you've got that now, right? So yeah, I'd love to hear more about that.
Let's take a step back and then we can drill down into like what we call jobs to be done that can't be done on other platforms, and you can get those jobs done. So I think if you want to build like a modern infrastructure for work communication, you would need to use and choose a chat interface, because that's where we're going. That's how we communicate. That's like the most common denominator for teams to get things done. You need to make it familiar and accessible so everyone can use it. If you have someone who is more educated on tech, and mostly the CEOs that are less educated in tech, they all need to be in the same place. And it needs to be compliant and secure, as you mentioned, because otherwise you can just use personal ones. So compliance and security and control is 3 big words that we can drill down in a second. You need those features. And then it needs to be connected to business apps and business workflows and tailor-made to you what you do on a daily basis. So let's touch point on those compliance, security, control. What you just mentioned is like we get those hundreds stories on a daily basis of we've tried, somebody walks away and he's a part of the group. So we will start a new group because we don't feel comfortable, kick him out. But anyways, all the data until that point of time stays with him on the phone, so he can literally steal all my IP and all the knowledge. He can create a lawsuit as an ex-employee because I said something, I don't know, appropriate in the group chat, and he can use it now against me. So we hear those stories, as you said, industries all the time. I always say that it's like using Gmail, everyone's Gmail, as work emails. That's why we don't do it. We created work email so the business can control, and once you're out, you're out. So we hear those stories all the time. You have basic GDPR, SOC 2 requirements that as a business you should meet, and obviously you can't meet them. You have user management, which is a huge feature. Onboard employees, get them in the right groups in a minute, let them go very easily once they leave the organization, especially in hospitality when you have a high turnover. That's a real hassle. We actually, I think there's like reduce from numbers that we saw, like the overhead of like onboarding new employees. It's like 70% off when people switch to a corporate solution in ZenZaps. You see that the headache of, are you in this group? They have all the history. They don't,
Mm,
they don't come with zero knowledge. So they don't ask stupid questions, which, what's the code for the alarm?
mm,
We've asked it like 10 times over the past 2 months in the group. Don't ask it again. You have the answer already there. So you have a lot of just day-to-day communication tax that you shouldn't pay. And that's just like, very like really, really, really the beginning of how it looks on a daily basis for a real operative business. Yeah, that's, you were talking about privacy.
yeah.
We didn't know about it, obviously, because we have the infrastructure. We could create those features, but we listen to customers. All right, we have customer advisory board, and we started listening and hearing a lot of, especially restaurants, where you get sexual harassments cases going back to the owner. Because, for example, you have a hot girl working for the restaurant, and you have one of the guys in the kitchen or whatever just taking her number from the group chat and starting
Mm,
to harass her after working hours. So we've created this very simple feature: hide phone numbers and hide personal details. So it's
mm,
work, and that's an amazing feature, because now when you have 200 people working for your restaurant, there's no reason to share personal details other if you wish. So
yeah.
that's a part of the control. It's like small things that can create huge hassle and a lot of chaos.
Yeah. I actually use that example quite a bit, the one you just shared, to when I speak to people, yeah, because they all resonate with that specifically. There's
Really
someone in the
good to know.
company, and they're like, yeah, I think that's not new. We've seen that, we've had to have difficult HR conversations, you know, and then they still have the WhatsApp group. So, there's only so much you can do because you don't see the communication outside of the group, right? So that's the other thing it's hard to manage. I
But
think,
it's only touching that point. We had a customer. He had I think it was an Italian restaurant, and one of the cooks just shared the recipes on the group chat because couldn't come for work, etc., etc. A few months later, one of the guys left the place and opened a new restaurant, and guess what? He had all the recipes. No, that's the IP of the business. Your business. So if he would use an appropriate tool for work communication, the day he leaves, you can just control the data and deactivate his account. So the small things that shouldn't happens all the time.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting points to talk about as well is you mentioned Slack earlier, and obviously there's Microsoft Teams as well. And I think the challenge we've seen in the past, we've actually had a client of ours who have moved from Google to Microsoft because they had Google and Slack paying an absolute fortune, and now they're all Microsoft ones. And I will be introducing you guys to them, to be fair, because everyone hates Teams in the company. They were having a massive, they're really upset that they don't have something else. And so one of the things that was really interesting, so we have a mutual client. We work with Market Halls there, and they are using your platform as well with a great uptake in customers. So they are a food hall. These are the challenges, right? So if you have one of the things that interesting to talk about is when you've got a business, but they don't all work for you, but they work with you. There's that challenge of, well, okay, so I have Slack. I've got to pay for licenses for people because I don't want to give them an email account, but we have Slack now. So you can invite them into Slack. Great. So then they go Slack free, then have 3 months, everything else just disappeared. All these sort of challenges and then Microsoft, great, we want to give them Teams, but then they have to pay for a Microsoft account. So they're paying additional licenses. So it's interesting to hear your take on companies that want to grow, want to bring people in, want to communicate with that community, but have challenged because where they are is that I don't want to spend an extra £2,000 a month on license fees for stuff that is much easier. So what's the conversation you guys have when you talk to people about that?
So it goes way back to the foundation of the company. We are here to disrupt the team communication industry that is quite of old and lagging behind what we think is appropriate today. And when you say disrupt, you want to give access to a much larger population to those tools. So today you have Slack Teams. There's like spaceship where everyone is in the need of having a bicycle. So you need to make it less expensive, more accessible, and that's where we come from. So ZenZap is free. It's a free tool. You can onboard as many users as you wish. You don't have any restrictions on history. We do limit storage because that's just cost us money, but we can look at that history for, I don't know, 5 years. We have many customers from years ago, 2 years ago, that are still using it for free. We just offer, and that's how we monetize the platform. We offer extended features if you want to have extra control or extra privacy or extra whatever or extra workflows. But essentially, we think that every working individual in the world that works for a company or for himself needs to have free to use access to this ZenZap network, professional communication network, and he needs to choose if there's needs for him to pay for something or he could just use it for free. So I think, first of all, the costs, paying 2,000, 3,000 euros or pounds for a communication for a text messaging app, it's just hilarious. So we charge like 10 times the price, and it's not because it's not good as, I think it's better than that. It's just like, it doesn't need to cost that much. It's like comparing Blockbuster to Netflix. Each movie on Blockbuster would cost you $20. Netflix would cost you $3. And that's how they've disrupted the market. Now it's the biggest companies in the world. So it's not about how much you charge, and it's about the business you want to build and the product and the people you want to serve. We want to serve, and we're serving thousands of customers on a daily basis. Plumbers, restaurants, hotels, hospitals, clinics, and they're all just regular people like you and me. And they need to have something simple, easy, fun, inexpensive. So that's how we view it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think we always talk about path to entry. Like we're building tech, right? We have our platform, and the path to entry is going to be easy. And I think that's where some companies struggle with that gate or the barrier to entry. It's got to be simple, right? So I think one of the nice things what you just mentioned is it's you want to start it, just start it. It's there. You can go off, you go use it. And I think one of the things that other companies fail on is that barrier to entry is hard. When we speak to other partners, other platforms we work with, we look at their onboarding process and it's like 3 weeks and so on. And, they're ahead in tech. So the team's got to interject. And that's where we have a sigh. I'm like, oh, you had that company as a company, even as well, when we're signing up for stuff, you want to just sign up and go, right? So I think that the path to entries, and I think you've done a really good job in creating that free version to letting them, you're basically pulling them in. You're roping that out. You're reeling up the fish in the line when you go fishing, and you know that once they start using it and all the team are using it, then if they want the extra features, they'll go for it. And again, in hospitality specifically, and the clients that we use, it's interesting because they will go straight for that hidden number feature. And I think you guys mentioned you can now invite via link as well, so you don't even need to send a mobile number. You can just add people, and I think that's a really nice piece as well. So it's I have to give you kudos for that one, because we always talk about path to entry, and something you've done is awesome.
You have implementation phases when it comes to tech, and our goal is to be zero learning curve. So you download the app, you log in with your phone number or email, whatever, Gmail, doesn't matter, and you are either be joining to workspace or creating a new one, and that's it. You know how to use it. Obviously, and the features are very similar to iPhone. You can be like an amateur, and you can be professional and use a lot of extended features that are hidden, because it is a complex platform, a rich platform. I wouldn't say complex, but zero learning curve is something that we see. You see somebody downloading the app, inviting 3 people. 5 minutes after, it's a 3, 4, 5 people team. They're trying it for a week or two, and then in 2 days, 70 people on the platform using it.
You see that, right? It's interesting. You see it just explode, right?
Yeah, and then you're like looking sideways, and you look at companies like, I wouldn't mention names, but project management and task management tools that they are bragging about, PLG from team of 1 people to 10 people. And I was like, 2 weeks were literally the platform of the company. We are the platform that the company is using to communicate and to work and to integrate with others. That's key to us.
Yeah.
the business owner, you should know it's a zero human resource cost to use ZenZap with your company, with your team, from 10 people team to 300, 400 people team. They all do it online. Obviously, we have a lot of content and videos to support and to explain. We've done a lot of efforts around that.
Yeah. I can attest to that. It is very familiar. I think one of the nicest things about it is it's super familiar. So when you look at it, it's not something that it's a new. That's the challenge as well, right? You get a new staff member in hospitality. They'll come in, they'll look at the new point of sale system, and they'll get used to how things work because they're just forced into it. And there's training and there's learning. This isn't a need for that because they have used WhatsApp already. So they've used WhatsApp or they've used Telegram or they've used Slack or whatever it might be. The familiarity what you've built within the system is there. I think the nice piece. So let's talk about what's happening next. I know you've got some additional features, right? So you've got I know the to-do's been there for a while, so you've got like that sort of stuff.
Right.
It'll be interesting to hear some of like the current like top features that you currently have versus what's coming next. I mean, listen, AI's here, right? It's also interesting things to talk about. I'd love to hear the top features that you currently have in place so that people can understand, because it's not just a messaging platform. It is that at its core, but it's a little bit more powerful than just that.
So I think the difference between a simple private personal messaging platform into work messaging platform is that you need to have more features to get things done and to track and monitor and make sure things doesn't get lost. From having to-dos within those group chats and making people assigned to specific to-dos and see all the track record of the changes within the chat. So it saves questions of, did you do that? Did you didn't do it? Just, you see everything. Quick and smart searches, AI search. You can ask the chat, what's the code for the alarm, instead of asking everyone, 50 people on the alarm. So knowledge, using knowledge and recurring knowledge and making sure knowledge is being held and being used. And that's key. So smart searches, to-dos, and making sure you can control who is in, who is out. Company structure. If you have 5 locations, you can create structure for each location.
Okay, nice.
Group chats, and you can, as a CEO, can deliver a message to the last employee in whatever location. They can also have a message going through to a number of managers, and the same for the managers. So the structure, I think separation and being able to be on a different app is not a feature, it's just a fundamental core thing that we provide, but that's key. Sending scheduled messages. We see like 60-70% of the managers using scheduled messages after working hours. So they want to send a message, but they want to respect your time. So they would just message you going to be sent tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. You would think the manager is really awake at 8.
Oh, hold on. I need to talk about your hours. Sorry, I just need to interrupt you for 1 second.
Sure.
I literally spoke to Elliot at 1 Lombard Street. Awesome guy. He said to me, Adam, my chef won't go on WhatsApp. I have to buy him a new iPhone, which he will switch off when he leaves. He won't go on WhatsApp. He just won't do it. And I showed him what you have. And I said, there's the hours. Talk to me about the hours. Because that is, I literally had another partner of mine who used to do operations manager of like 50 pubs. He said his wife killed him every night because he didn't put his phone on silent. So about midnight, his phone would be like stupid questions, like literally like, where are the keys for this pub, or how do I get this, or I need to order more this. It literally, he was in 40 different groups. It was just mental. And he said I couldn't sleep. It was just, I probably got maybe 6 hours of sleep a night, which isn't that bad. But so talk to me about that, because that one thing specifically for this people who are listening to this one is a key feature.
Yeah. So once you separate and you have a dedicated platform for work and you control and you listen to customers, you can create a lot of features that will going to make their life just awesome. So working hours, you can set your working hours, and that means that messages were going to go in, but they were not going to create notifications, and not going to harass. And obviously by separation, it will not going to populate it in your WhatsApp or whatever you use when you talk to your wife or when you talk to your friends. So working hours, scheduled messages are 2 huge unlocks for 24/7 businesses such as the hospitality industry. And I think that's key. We can see it also for doctor in hospitals that run 24/7. Yeah. So those features are, it's a feature, but it changes people's life. I think the other one is the media that doesn't being saved on your phone into your library and photos, but is accessible on ZenZap. Even when you're in the tube, it all works. It's all in the database, but it doesn't go into your library. So I think those separation is key to the mental health. We started working with the Vern Chef. I don't know if you're familiar
Yeah.
with that.
Awesome.
So he's like all about mental health issues for the hospitality industry. He mentioned that the 3 biggest issues is the 24/7 is I'm not at shift right now. I'm like on my day off. I still get my WhatsApp is being populated with so many. And if I'm not there, I'm not a part of the team. I'm not a part of the culture. So I cannot be promoted in a sense. So there's an HR problem with managers problem. It's all, it's a one big mess where you just don't need to you can just fail now. You can just work as a proper human being, as a professional. So those two,
But
three,
also, I think you get lost as well, right? So if it's in that group, the one group is a mixture of everything. So it might not. So some people will maybe create community, and then you've got like 19 different groups. But the one group, if you're not there for 2 days and say you're annual leave and you come back, you're completely lost. You're lost, right? You can't. You're done. So
yes.
I think that's another interesting.
So summarizing what's been happening in the group chat, service sites, we are doing all that. That goes without saying. I think you talked about lost messages. We had a scenario where specifically in one of the restaurants, it's a five location, like a small chain brand Indian food that they told us that one of the employees, one of the cooks just wrote a text message in the group chat, 50, 60 people. I think the freezer is broke. And then he left. And, it's just one message in a river of messages. And they came up the day after, and all the goods, you need to throw it away. And you don't have the goods to be prepared for this service. So, you just lose money, like hundreds or thousands of pounds for stupidity. And if you had those preparation into small group chats with the right people, and you would know what's the context and where in front of the context, the weight of each message we're going to be higher. So people would notice that, and responsibility we're going to be in a much prioritized place versus just a message.
And you can create a to do for the right person and then allocate it.
That's what people do. So that's your problem right now. Thank you very much.
So the last question we have here is looking ahead, how do you see the way we communicate at work evolving over the next 5 years? Do you think the landscape of business messaging will shift? What role do you envision ZenZap playing in the future? It'd be really interesting to hear that, because everything's changing. Like, technology is going super fast now. You look at the new Meta glasses that didn't really work properly, that did work with the calling. There's lots happening. It'd be interesting to hear what's the plan, or how you see the industry changing, because there's got to be a change right now. Businesses can't use open message apps. It's not compliant, and people don't understand that as well.
Yeah. So I think when I started ZenZap, I had a few years which I wasn't like working as a founder and or a CEO, and I had a time to think, read, and learn. And one of the things that caught my ears is something that Jeff Bezos said. That he says that everyone is asking him about what's going to change over the next 10 years, and he said that's the wrong question. The question is what we're going to for sure stay over the next 10 years. And I think messaging and the ability, the way and how people communicate, chat is the interface. With ChatGPT and AI, chat is the interface. I think there's a missing part for something that was built for work, and that's why we've created ZenZap, and that's why we believe ZenZap is the next infrastructure for work communication. But I think chat will going to stay. I think teams are going to be relying more and more on messaging and quick instant messaging. I think the big change will going to be that you are going to have team members that are just virtual. So you have those AI agents that can be a part of the conversation. And I will give you a sense of what I'm talking about. Think about an AI agent, a part of the group chat of all the workers saying, we've just crossed, 500 pounds tip for today. Great job, guys. Continue with your service. That's just a very simple example of how you can take those smart, really large POSs and all of those, sideways siloed softwares and bring them into the day-to-day of the team.
Yeah.
Connectivity over chat is where we're heading. So I think that's my view. And I think ZenZap will play a big role
So
there.
you guys can upload documents and files and stuff as well, right? So can you now search like info? So if you want to do a search, so the challenges we have here, there's lots of people, very expensive HR app, very expensive apps for business, lots of really cool functional tools that help the HR for the people side of the business. And I spoke to someone yesterday who does work with a restaurant group, last week, and I said, how many emails do you get on a daily basis asking what's our holiday time, how many days am I allowed off, if I've got a dentist, do I have to take a holiday time, or is it part of this? There's all she goes, I get 100. They've got 150 staff, 250 staff, sorry. She goes, and it's her and a team, hundreds. If you can upload the company policy and company documents, that will then allow you to just search for that question, right, and find it. So that's a general search. But then moving forward, when you're talking about the AI agents, is that like a virtual team member, HR team member that can research those documents and then come back with the information?
It even goes further than that. For example, we see between 15 to 16 to 17 touch points for every individual that wants to change shift. Sticking with and doing noise for everyone, and then telling the manager and the manager to approve. Think about a world where you have everything connected into one place where you need to do just 1, 2, 3 touch points, and everyone is being informed correctly in the right place after all this, this process. So think about, you have 7 shifts and you have 5 people, and so you can ask, hey, who can change shift with me? Somebody interrupts, like agent saying, hey, he can do that, they can do that, who is willing to do that, and then the manager gets a message on a topic called changing shift saying Adam and Guy just switched to that guy is taking the shift. That's done. So we definitely, it's not just about proactively searching, it's about making sure you don't even need to search for stuff.
So is the future, I mean, we talk about APIs all the time, right? Having an API, I spoke to a point of sale company a couple of years back, and they have an API, but it's not open because he said, and the guy said to him, he called himself the file or the gateway to the API. It's like one guy. He's like, do you know how expensive it is to maintain an API? Like if we had all the money in the world, we would open the API to everyone, but we have to maintain it. And they're a big company, but they limit what they can do. So there's less challenges. And then you've got people like Square, right? Who are just open, completely open. There's the API. Is that, for me, when you start to say shift changing, my brain goes to, it's going to have a plugin to the HR company, right? So it wouldn't need to go to the manager. It would go to the HR company and then message the manager back to say, by the way, these Swifter changes, I've done it for you. We're hands off. Is that I mean, that's what I can see for that agent, basically.
ZenZap is a chat, is the interface. We will not going to be an all-in-one platform. So we want to be as connected as possible. So connectivity, so it's got familiarity, you got security, and you got connectivity. And that creates productivity, right? That the outcome is productivity, but connectivity is key. Opening the API, we have a very comprehensive yet simple to the user platform that you can customize how the message for the employee is going to look like once some API call is made or whatever. So you can get notifications for the tips and for the end of cashier and the hospitality industry, and shift was changed and whatever it is, but it's all us being connected. Connectivity, and I think in generally speaking, companies that would not be a part of this journey of being connected to others, I think they have a limited horizon.
Yeah, they're totally limited. It feels a bit like community. Like we talk about connectivity, but it actually feels like building a community. The app, having general messaging is one thing, having WhatsApp is one thing, but having the platform to be able to do more, it feels like you're building a community within the company. So it's safe. It's a safe place. It has all the information you need, yeah, it's. I feel like I think you need a little bit of info about building a community and a safe place, because those two pieces have come to my mind immediately from what you were saying. Is you are building a community within your business rather than just messaging first, right? It's a community and it's a safe place for that, because you've got control. So it's been really interesting, super interesting.
I have a line where I say, today you have a disconnected path between your data and your dialogue within an organization. You get scheduling here, you got, I don't know, cash being handed over there, suppliers there, and the communication is being done there. And you need to connect everything to streamline, your business. So it's the disconnection between your dialogues and your data points.
I like that. That's a good line. Yeah. There we go. So that's for you. I did it on the previous, so I heard it. So thank you so much. This has been awesome to learn your story and more about the platform. We're going to just dive into the last two questions. So there's two questions for the next guest. The next guest for us will be in hospo, but it will be an operator, marketer, tech, a mixed bag. So it'd be interesting to hear two questions that you have for our next guest.
Okay, so I think first question I
Have you
would ask.
downloaded? Have you downloaded ZenZap? I'm sorry.
No, I think the first question is how do you manage, or what's your view about culture, and how do you create a culture in such a living and the changing environment such as the hospitality business, especially if he's an operator. I would love to hear like how do you sustain a culture. I think that's key for businesses and key for scale. And and the second thing is, what's your view? And I know with the hospitality, it's not quite simple to do, but in terms of efficiency and the next wave of AI or the current wave of AI, how do you view efficiency, if at all, in this industry as an operator? That those are the two things I would ask.
I said, there's good questions, deep questions.
Thank you.
But yeah, I feel sorry for whoever. No, I'm kidding. No, it was super. Thank you so much. This is really interesting. Okay, so where do people go to get the app? I mean, it's pretty easy. They can search it, but I mean, where do people go to find it, to download it, to get it for free and test it?
ZenZap on Google, app stores, YouTube. We believe in content and simplicity, so you have a lot of videos, short and long, to explain and answer and address any question or concern you have, from security to whatever. We have a fairly large knowledge base about compliance, security, whatever you need, connectivity. So it's just out there. You can access it quite simply. No strings attached. Download the app, try it out, and let us know if there's anything that you wish to have. We are always seeking to hear more and more ideas. For everyone who opens a new workspace, you'll have Shelly from ZenZap, that's the new person that we chat with you. So that's the gateway to the entire company.
Nice.
Yeah, so these are real people, support 24/7. So feel free.
So that just to clarify, their work time is always on. So
Always.
they don't sleep.
Always on. We have Shelly, and she's always awake. She's an owl. So
Amazing. So listen, Guy, thank you so much. This has been awesome.
thank you.
Hopefully it sheds a light on where you came, where it came from, and what you do. Yeah, thank you so much. It's been great.
Thank you
Give everyone a wave. Goodbye.
We speak soon. Thank you.